I smiled when the pharmacist refused to fill my prescription. I actually smiled, like it was funny, like my hands weren't shaking so badly I could barely hold the paper. "Ma'am, I can't fill this," she said again, quieter this time. She was maybe 60, with kind eyes that kept darting to the door behind me. "This dosage, it's not right." "Who wrote this for you?" "My husband," I said. The words felt strange in my mouth. "He's a doctor, Dr. Marcus Chen. He works at Presbyterian." Her face changed, just slightly, a tightening around her mouth. "Your husband prescribed this for you?" "He's been managing my anxiety during the pregnancy. I have terrible insomnia, and the baby's been—" "How far along are you?" 7 months. She looked down at the prescription again. Her hands were trembling now, too. "Ma'am, I need you to listen to me very carefully. This medication, at this dose, during pregnancy—" She leaned closer, her voice dropping to almost a whisper. "I've been a pharmacist for 34 years. I've never seen a doctor prescribe this to a pregnant woman, not at any dose, and certainly not at this level." The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Someone's phone was ringing in the diabetes testing aisle. Everything felt very far away. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying." She glanced at the door again. "I'm saying you need to get a second opinion. From a doctor who isn't your husband. Today. Right now." I left the pharmacy without the medication. I sat in my car in the Walgreens parking lot for 20 minutes, staring at the prescription in my hand. The paper was slightly crumpled now, warm from being clutched too tightly. Marcus's handwriting was neat, precise, the same handwriting that wrote me love notes when we were dating, the same handwriting that signed our marriage certificate 3 years ago. My phone buzzed. "Marcus, did you pick up your refill?" "They were out," I lied. "Said it'll be ready tomorrow." A pause. "Which pharmacy did you go to?" "The usual one. On Colfax." "I'll call them. Make sure they have it ready first thing in the morning. You need to stay on schedule, Emma. Your anxiety's been getting worse." "Had it, though?" I tried to remember. The days blurred together now. I slept so much. 14, sometimes 16 hours a day. Marcus said it was normal, that pregnancy exhaustion was real, that I needed to rest for the baby. "I love you," he said before hanging up. He always said it, multiple times a day. "I love you, Emma. I love you, sweetheart. I love you so much." I drove to the urgent care clinic on Alameda instead of going home. A doctor I'd never met before, a young woman with a sleek ponytail and Star Wars socks visible beneath her scrubs, listened to my rambling explanation about the pharmacist and the prescription and how I was probably overreacting because I've always been anxious, and my husband knows best. He's a doctor. But also maybe, could she just tell me if this seems normal? She didn't tell me it was normal. She told me to wait while she made a phone call. Then she told me that the medication Marcus had been prescribing me for 6 months wasn't for anxiety at all. It was a sedative hypnotic, the kind they give to people before surgery, the kind that causes memory problems, confusion, extreme drowsiness, the kind that, in high doses during pregnancy, can cause severe complications. "Has your husband been increasing the dosage?" she asked. I nodded slowly. He said my anxiety was getting worse, that I needed more to manage it. "Emma," she pulled her chair closer to mine, "I want you to think very carefully. How much of the last 6 months do you actually remember clearly?" I opened my mouth to answer and realized I couldn't. There were fragments, pieces. Marcus bringing me breakfast in bed because I was too tired to get up. Marcus canceling my book club because I needed rest. Marcus explaining that my mother's calls were stressing me out, that it was better if we limited contact until after the baby came. Marcus suggesting I quit my job at the design firm because the stress wasn't good for the pregnancy. When had I agreed to that? I couldn't remember agreeing to that. "I need to examine you," she said. "If that's okay." She found the bruises during the exam, small ones, perfectly round, on my upper arms. I stared at them like they belonged to someone else. "I'm just clumsy," I heard myself say. "Pregnancy brain. I bump into things. These are finger marks, Emma. 4 fingers on each arm. From someone gripping you. Hard. I didn't remember anyone gripping me. But then again, I didn't remember much of anything clearly anymore, did I? She printed out information about something called coercive control, about how abusers isolate their victims, control their medication, manufacture dependence, about how abuse often escalates during pregnancy. She gave me the number for a domestic violence hotline and a women's shelter. I threw it all away in the parking lot trash can. Because Marcus loved me. He told me so every single day. This was all a misunderstanding. The pharmacist was being overly cautious. The urgent care doctor didn't know our relationship. Marcus was protecting me, protecting our baby. I went home. Marcus was in the kitchen making dinner. Chicken stir-fry, my favorite. Or what used to be my favorite. I couldn't remember the last time I'd actually tasted food, really tasted it. Everything was muted lately. "How are you feeling, sweetheart?" He kissed my forehead. His hands rested on my arms, thumbs pressing gently, right where the bruises were. I didn't flinch. I didn't remember learning not to flinch. "Tired?" I said. "Of course you are. Growing a human is exhausting." He smiled, guided me to the couch. "Sit. Relax. I'll bring you dinner." He brought me dinner on a tray, and a glass of water with my medication already dissolved in it, the way he'd been doing for months. So I wouldn't forget to take it. So thoughtful. I stared at the water. "What's wrong?" Marcus asked. "Nothing. Just, the pharmacist said something weird today, about the medication, that it seemed like a high dose." His expression didn't change. "Pharmacists aren't doctors, Emma. They don't understand your specific case. Your anxiety has been severe. I'm treating you appropriately." She seemed really concerned, though. "Maybe I should get a second opinion, just to be safe?" "A second opinion." He said it slowly, carefully. "You think I'm not capable of managing my own wife's care?" "No, after everything I've done for you, managing your anxiety, taking care of you, supporting you through this pregnancy while you sleep 16 hours a day." His voice was soft, reasonable. "And you don't trust me?" "I do trust you." "Then drink your water, take your medication. Let me take care of you." I picked up the glass. My hands were shaking again. Marcus watched me, still smiling. I didn't drink it. I excused myself to use the bathroom and poured it down the sink. That night, I didn't sleep. For the first time in months, I didn't sleep at all. And somewhere around 3 in the morning, lying in bed next to my husband, who definitely wasn't actually sleeping either, I realized I could think clearly. My mind felt sharp, focused, like a fog had lifted. And I started remembering things. I remembered Marcus's face when I told him I was pregnant, a flash of something that wasn't quite joy before the smile settled into place. I remembered him volunteering to manage all our finances because pregnant women shouldn't stress about money. I remembered signing papers he brought home from his office. Insurance documents, he said, not really reading them because he explained them so quickly and I was so tired and he knew best anyway. I remembered our couple's therapist, Dr. Sarah Morrison, the one Marcus had chosen, who always seemed to side with him, who suggested I was experiencing prenatal depression, who recommended I limit my social activities and focus on resting. I remembered my best friend Jenna asking if I was okay, if everything at home was all right, and Marcus later explaining that Jenna was jealous, that childless women often resent pregnant friends, that it was healthier to take some space from her. When was the last time I'd spoken to Jenna? 4 months ago? 5? When Marcus's alarm went off at 6, he reached for me automatically, proprietary. I pretended to still be drowsy, compliant. He kissed my neck and told me he loved me and that he had an early surgery, he'd be home by noon to check on me. The moment his car pulled out of the driveway, I was up. I'd been working from home before I quit my job. My laptop was still in the office, in the back of the closet where Marcus had helped me pack it away to reduce temptation to overwork. I pulled it out with shaking hands and booted it up. My email was still logged in. I scrolled through 6 months of messages, looking for anything, everything. There were emails from my boss at the design firm, increasingly concerned about my sudden request for indefinite leave. I never requested indefinite leave. I'd requested maternity leave starting in 2 months. There were emails from Jenna, worried, then hurt, then angry at my silence. I never saw these emails. Marcus managed my phone, my laptop, my communication, so I could rest. There were emails from my mother in Ohio, asking why I'd blocked her number. I never blocked her number. And there, buried in my spam folder from 3 months ago, was an email from Dr. Sarah Morrison's office. An automated reminder that our couple's therapy practice was closing due to Dr. Morrison's retirement. Retirement. 3 months ago. But we'd had a session just 2 weeks ago. Marcus drove me there himself, walked me into the building, waited in the lobby. I'd gone upstairs to the familiar office and talked to Dr. Morrison for 50 minutes about my anxiety and my mother issues and how grateful I was that Marcus was so patient with me. Except Dr. Morrison had retired 3 months ago. My hands went cold. I pulled up Google, searched for the office building address. Street View showed a multi-tenant medical building, 4 floors, lots of offices. I searched Dr. Sarah Morrison's name with the building address. Her practice had been on the 3rd floor, Suite 312. Where had I been going for our sessions? I called the building's main office from my laptop using Google Voice, a number Marcus wouldn't recognize on the phone bill. Hi, I'm trying to reach Dr. Sarah Morrison's office? Suite 312? Dr. Morrison retired in October, hun. That suite's been empty since then. We're still looking for a new tenant. Empty, I repeated. Completely. Been locked up for months. I'd been going to an empty office for therapy sessions. Talking to someone for 50 minutes every 2 weeks. Someone who looked exactly like Dr. Morrison, who knew everything about our relationship, who always reinforced everything Marcus said. Who had been in that room with me? The baby kicked hard, like she was trying to wake me up, trying to tell me to run. I needed evidence. Real evidence. Not just my fragmented memories and growing paranoia. I searched our house while Marcus was at work. I found his laptop in his home office, password protected, but I knew Marcus. Brilliant, careful Marcus who believed I was too drugged and confused to be a threat. I tried our wedding date. Wrong. I tried my birthday. Wrong. I tried the baby's due date. It opened. His browser history was cleared, but he'd been logged into his email. I scrolled through his sent folder, my heart pounding so hard I thought the baby could probably feel it. There were emails to someone named Valerie, starting 8 months ago, right before we got pregnant. Can't wait to see you tonight, V. Same place. Emma's sleeping more. The medication is working perfectly. The policy is in place. $2 million. Accidental death during childbirth. They can't contest it if she dies in the hospital. Found a private facility in Wyoming that handles postpartum psychosis commitments. No family visitation, no outside contact. Dr. Reynolds owes me a favor. Once she's committed, I'll have full custody and power of attorney. Everything transfers to me. We'll be free to be together. I couldn't breathe. The room was spinning. I had to grip the desk to stay upright. There were more. Dozens more. A complete timeline of his plan. Get me pregnant. Isolate me from my support system. Drug me into compliance. Fake therapy sessions to establish a record of my mental instability. Increase the medication until I was completely dependent. Then, during delivery, something would go wrong. An accident. A tragic complication. The doctors would do everything they could, of course, but sometimes these things happen. And if I survived, he had a backup plan, postpartum psychosis. An involuntary commitment to a private facility in Wyoming. Dr. Marcus Chen, devastated widower or devoted husband trying desperately to help his mentally ill wife, sole guardian of their daughter, sole beneficiary of my life insurance policy and the trust fund from my grandmother that I'd forgotten I even had. Either way, I disappeared. Either way, he got everything. Either way, he got to be with Valerie. I found photos of her buried in a hidden folder. Beautiful, blonde, laughing in restaurants I'd never been to, wearing jewelry I recognized from our bank statements filed under medical expenses. There was a video. I almost didn't click it. I wish I hadn't. It was Marcus and Valerie in what looked like a hotel room. High-end, downtown probably. She was wearing a hospital bracelet. Playing doctor? She laughed. Then she was wearing Dr. Morrison's glasses, her hair pulled back the same way. How was your session today, Emma? She mimicked in a gentle therapist voice before dissolving into laughter. They'd been mocking me. For months. She'd been pretending to be my therapist while he drugged me senseless. I closed the laptop carefully, quietly, like it might explode. I walked to the bathroom and threw up everything in my stomach. Then I sat on the cold tile floor and did something I hadn't done in months. I thought clearly. I couldn't go to the police. Not yet. Marcus was a respected doctor. I was a pregnant woman he'd claim was having a mental health crisis. He had months of manufactured evidence, fake therapy notes, medication records showing I'd been treated for severe anxiety and paranoia. He'd probably documented every paranoid delusion I'd expressed, every time I'd questioned anything. I needed proof. Real, undeniable proof. I pulled out my phone, the one Marcus monitored constantly, and made a show of texting him like I always did. "Miss you. Can't wait for you to come home." He responded immediately with a heart emoji. Then I went to the closet in the guest bedroom, the one we never used, and pulled out the box labeled Emma's college stuff from the top shelf. Inside was my old iPhone, the one I'd used before we got married, before Marcus upgraded me to his family plan. Dead for years, but I'd kept it for the photos. I found the charger in a box of random cables, plugged it in, waited. It turned on. I set it up with a new Apple ID, paying for a month of service with a Visa gift card I found in my wallet from my birthday 2 years ago, a number Marcus didn't know existed. Then I went back to his laptop and forwarded every single email to myself, to 3 different email addresses I created on the spot. I took photos of his screen with the old iPhone. I documented everything. I found the life insurance policy in his file cabinet. $2 million. Accidental death during childbirth provision. I'd signed it myself 4 months ago, too drugged to read it properly, trusting my husband who loved me so much. I photographed every page. I found bank statements showing cash withdrawals that matched Valerie's jewelry purchases, hotel charges on nights he'd claimed to be working late, payment to Wyoming Serenity Behavioral Health Center as a consultation fee. I photographed all of it. Then I did something crazy. Maybe the smartest or stupidest thing I'd ever done. I called Marcus. "Sweetheart? Everything okay?" "I love you so much," I said, making my voice soft and drowsy like I'd been practicing for months without realizing it. "I was just thinking about how lucky I am, how you take such good care of me." "I love you too, Emma. Always. Will you come home early? I'm feeling anxious. I think I need my medication." "Of course. I'll leave now. 20 minutes. I had 20 minutes. I took every bottle of medication from our bathroom and photographed the labels. Then I hid them in the box with my old phone and put it back on the closet shelf. I put Marcus's laptop exactly back where I'd found it, browser exactly on the page he'd left it on. I got back into bed, messed up my hair, made myself look like I'd been sleeping all day. When Marcus came home, I smiled at him, took the water he brought me with the medication dissolved in it, put it to my lips. "Actually," I said, "I'm feeling a lot better. I think I just needed to hear your voice. You don't have to leave work early. I'm sorry for bothering you." Something flickered across his face. Annoyance? Suspicion? "Are you sure? You seemed so anxious on the phone." "I'm sure. I love you. I love you too." He kissed my forehead. His hand found my arm, fingers pressing exactly over the bruises. "But take your medication anyway, just to be safe." Of course. I waited until he left for his emergency surgery that evening. Then I poured the water down the sink and walked out of my house for the first time in 3 months without asking permission. I drove to the police station on my old phone's GPS. I brought everything: printouts of the emails, photos of the fake therapy, bank statements, the insurance policy, my medication bottles, the bruises on my arms. The detective who took my statement was a woman in her 50s who looked like she'd heard everything. She listened without interrupting while I explained about the pharmacist, the urgent care doctor, the emails, the plan. "Mrs. Chen," she said when I finished, "I need to ask you something important. Are you currently taking any psychiatric medication?" My heart sank. Here it was. She didn't believe me. "My husband has been drugging me for 6 months," I said clearly. "With a sedative hypnotic he claimed was for anxiety. I have bottles of it at home labeled as something else entirely. I stopped taking it 3 days ago and my mind is clearer than it's been since I got pregnant." She studied me for a long moment. "And you have proof of all this?" I pushed the folder across the desk. "Everything." She read it. All of it. It took an hour. Then she picked up her phone. "I'm calling someone from Special Victims. And we're getting a warrant for your husband's arrest. Tonight? Right now. And Mrs. Chen, I need you to not go home. Do you have somewhere safe you can stay? I almost laughed. Somewhere safe? I'd been living in my own home for months, and it had been the least safe place in the world. My best friend Jenna, I said. I haven't talked to her in months. But call her. I'll have an officer drive you. Jenna answered on the first ring. I started crying the moment I heard her voice. Emma? Oh my God, Emma, are you okay? Where have you been? I've been so worried. I need help, I managed. Can I stay with you tonight? Of course. Of course. Are you safe? What's happening? I'll explain everything. I'm so sorry I disappeared. I'm so sorry. Just get here. I love you. Just get here safely. The police arrested Marcus at the hospital during his emergency surgery, which was actually dinner with Valerie at Del Frisco's, reservation for 2, celebration of the fact that I'd hit my 3rd trimester and his plan was entering its final phase. They arrested Valerie too. Conspiracy to commit murder, fraud, practicing medicine without a license for the fake therapy sessions. They found more when they searched our house, a syringe in Marcus's medical bag with a substance that would cause placental abruption during labor. Untraceable, symptomatic of natural complications. He'd been planning to inject it himself when I went into labor, playing the part of the concerned husband while he murdered me and our baby. The backup plan was all laid out too. Commitment papers already filled out, a room reserved at the Wyoming facility under a fake name, forged psychiatric evaluations claiming I'd been experiencing severe postpartum psychosis. Detective Morrison told me later that they estimated I'd had maybe 2 more weeks before he enacted the final stage, maybe less. I stayed with Jenna for 3 months. She helped me file for divorce, helped me find a lawyer who specialized in domestic violence cases, helped me reconnect with my mother, who flew in from Ohio and cried for 6 hours straight when she saw me. My daughter was born on a Tuesday in March. 7 pounds, 6 ounces, perfect. I named her Grace, after the pharmacist who saved our lives by refusing to fill a prescription, Grace Morrison, after the detective who believed me. Marcus is in prison, awaiting trial. His medical license has been revoked. Valerie took a plea deal and is serving 5 years. I'm in therapy now. Real therapy, with a doctor I chose myself, in an office I verified actually exists. I still have moments where I doubt myself, where I wonder if I overreacted, if maybe there was an explanation for everything. Then I read the emails again and remember that my husband was planning to either murder me or lock me away forever, whichever was more convenient. The baby monitor crackles in the other room. Grace is waking up from her nap. I walk into her nursery, this bright yellow room in Jenna's basement apartment that's temporary until I find my own place. My daughter looks up at me with dark eyes, so trusting, so innocent. Hey, sweet girl, I whisper, picking her up. She fits perfectly in my arms. Mama's here. Mama's always going to be here. And I mean it, because I survived. We survived. I survived a man who told me he loved me every single day while slowly erasing me from existence. I survived because a pharmacist paid attention, because an urgent care doctor took me seriously, because I finally listened to the voice in my head screaming that something was wrong. And now I tell my story to anyone who will listen. I speak at domestic violence awareness events. I train pharmacists on how to spot prescription abuse. I teach women to trust their instincts, even when everyone tells them they're being paranoid, even when the person gaslighting them is someone they love, especially when it's someone they love, because that's when it's most dangerous. When abuse wears the mask of protection, when control masquerades as care, when someone slowly, methodically destroys you while whispering, "I love you" in your ear. Grace makes a small sound and grabs my finger with her tiny hand. You're gonna grow up strong, I tell her. You're gonna grow up knowing that love doesn't hurt, that love doesn't isolate, that love doesn't require you to give up yourself. She blinks at me, solemn and wise for someone so small. And if anyone ever tries to tell you otherwise, I continue, you run, and you don't look back and you trust yourself. Always trust yourself. My phone buzzes. It's Detective Morrison, checking in like she does every few days, making sure I'm okay, making sure I'm safe. I'm okay. For the first time in almost a year, I'm genuinely, truly okay. I'm Emma Chen. I'm 29 years old. I'm a mother. I'm a survivor. and I'm never going to be silent again.